How does Greg from Kinobody stay injury-free all year round and maintain his lean Hollywood physique with some questionable form on his shoulder press and chest press? You'll see the videos here. Now I'm also going to talk about analyzing his form and then show you what he's doing great and what you should be doing to make sure you can stay strong, lean, and injury-free all year round. So check out the video, make sure to watch until the end for the full tips. So if you look at how Greg does his bench press and his shoulder press, you'll notice that he likes a lot of lumbar lordosis, or big extension through his lower back. Now, this isn't necessarily bad, but it can lead to issues with loading the lumbar spine into hyperextension over time. It also causes decreased core activation. So I'm not saying he doesn't have a strong core, but his form is a little questionable in terms of how much is he really pushing the barrier of injury risk, going so heavy with form that is suboptimal, versus how much stronger and how much bigger could he get if he were to activate that core a bit more, maybe drop the weight a little bit, perform a few more warm-up sets, and really get the most out of the exercise. If you can get your core nice and tight, a lot of times you'll notice he presses and he leans back. That can really irritate the facet joints in your back and those lumbar paraspinal. So if he could just work a little bit more on tucking his pelvis, squeezing his bum more, he would have a lot decreased injury risk. Now, if we move over to the bench press, probably one of Greg's most impressive lifts. I think in most recent videos, I've seen him do 350 pounds for a double or triple, something like that, or maybe it was 3 plates. He does lift his back and his bum off the bench. Now, if we were talking about strictly powerlifting, this would be considered an illegal technique, but we're just talking about general population health and fitness and improving your physique. So again, it isn't the best for the back. But another thing I want to point out is how he's moving with his shoulders. Now you'll notice he likes to come out here and shoulder press and chest press, come into a lot of abduction, when we know the anatomy of the shoulder and the scapular plane is along this 45-degree angle. So he likes to be out here, and that position isn't necessarily bad, but you need to have elite level mobility. But if you have that, is it really worth it being out here? A lot of people will feel that pinchiness coming here. So I think if he were to abduct his shoulders, flare his lats a bit more on that bench press, he can achieve the same depth with a decreased risk of injury. And the same thing for his shoulder press. You'll notice that he likes to come all the way back here, and then when he gets to the top, his bum stick out. That can cause some issues with the lower back. So I'm going to say we don't want to be seeing that. Focusing more on form over everything is going to be the most important to staying healthy, lean, and pain-free year-round. So one thing I really like about the Kinobody program is Greg really prioritizes rotator cuff training. And I'm not talking about just doing the banded activation stuff. I love how he does rest pause sets of the Cuban press, coming up from internal rotation, controlling the weight up into external, pressing overhead. And he doesn't just do 1 or 2 sets at the end, but he does rest pause, drop sets, really making sure he trains his rotator cuff to maximal fatigue, to really make sure he has that endurance for the heavy weights he's pushing. He also does a lot of lateral raises, and the same thing, he's using a nice, slow, and controlled tempo, really making sure he feels his muscles, and he very rarely on these accessory exercises slams and throws the weights around. So if you haven't done the Cuban press, definitely want to start doing this a lot more often in your training routine. I would say another thing I don't see him doing would be face pulls. But again, if you're doing face pulls and Cuban press, you're definitely covering a wide variety of rotator cuff training, which are really great options. If you notice, Greg has a very unique approach to training arms. Instead of doing the traditional supinated curl, he'll do things like incline curls, which increase the range of motion in the shoulder, which inherently help to increase your mobility and to make your biceps bigger. So he's being very smart with his exercise selection, and that is important in terms of efficiency in the gym as well. He also does really cool exercises like Zottman curls, where we're coming through full range of motion. If you've seen before, I've done videos on elbow cars. Essentially, he's coming through the full range of motion with the dumbbell, controlling it back down. So he's choosing stuff that prioritizes mobility, and that is the key to staying injury-free and keeping those elbows nice and healthy, especially with all the heavy weighted dips and pull-ups he's doing. You'll notice that Greg trains twice per week. This helps him stay injury-free. Whether or not this maximizes his muscle development, he's prioritizing his rest and his recovery. So notice he trains 2 to 3 times a week and he goes hard, but he has the rest of the week to recover and rebuild. And he makes it a habit to go for a walk every day, 10,000 steps being the minimum. And we know the research shows that low-level intensity cardiovascular exercise is going to help promote recovery and get good blood flow. So he doesn't kill his body in the gym 5-6 days a week. And I know this is definitely helping in terms of him keeping the injury risk very low. In the past, he was talking about he was having a lot of elbow pain around 2017, shooting a ton of videos. That's when he started noticing issues, and he really started to consider how many days a week he was hitting the gym. So maybe ask yourself, are you overtraining? Could you be training more optimally? The next thing I like about the Kinobody program is that Greg prioritizes a balanced training approach.
Alright, for a lot of people following me, they may or may not know that I'm a huge fan of bodyweight training.
So he doesn't just lift heavy with barbells 5-6 days a week. He has a blended mix of both calisthenics, bodyweight exercises, in addition to his heavy barbell lifts. And if you'll notice, he does a lot of handstand push-ups, single arm push-ups, reverse Nordic curls, sprinting, boxing, a lot of fundamental and functional exercises that I believe helps him reduce the strain on his joints and focus on that rest recovery curve that we know how important prioritizing recovery is. Now, he's actually at an elite level for a lot of these bodyweight movements he's doing, and we know if you look at any gymnast, bodyweight movements are nice and slow and controlled, and they really help to strengthen the ligaments and the connective tissue. For example, Greg does reverse Nordic curls, which are really good for bulletproofing the hamstring. At elite sprinter levels, he can do 10 reps at body weight, which is absolutely insane, so kudos to him. I hope you found these tips helpful. Greg does a lot of great stuff to keep his body healthy, strong, and pain-free. And as always, I'm David London, the Athletic Physio. Don't forget to check out my athletic mobility program if you want to bulletproof your body. All the links are in the show notes below if you want coaching as well, or you have an injury that you need help with. Let me know if you'd be interested in more Kinobody style videos. I would love to review more of his content and share what I think as the Athletic Physio. We'll see you in the next video.